What exactly is global marketing? Put simply, global marketing is the process of planning, producing, placing, and promoting a company's products and services in a worldwide market. It goes far beyond mere exporting. It requires a company to understand the global environment and treat the world as its potential marketplace. But as soon as a company decides to cross its borders, it is confronted with the single most important question in international business. Do we standardize or do we adapt? Standardization, or the global integration approach, is when a company sells the exact same product using the exact same marketing campaign worldwide. Think of Apple. An iPhone sold in New York is virtually identical to an iPhone sold in Guntur or Tokyo. The advertising campaigns look the same. Why do companies love standardization? Because it is incredibly cheap in the toss. In the long run, it gives you massive economies of scale in manufacturing, cuts down on R&D costs, and creates a unified global brand image. On the other side of the coin, we have adaptation or local responsiveness. This is when a company customizes its product, packaging, pricing, and promotions to match the unique tastes, legal requirements, and cultural habits of each individual country. Here's an impromptu classroom anecdote on what happens when you suffer from home country bias or cultural myopia. Years ago, an American baby food company tried to sell its products in Africa. They used the same packaging design, a jar with a picture of a smiling baby on the label. But they didn't realize that in many of these local markets, the literacy rate was low. So the local custom was to put a picture of what was inside the jar on the label. The local consumers looked at the jar, saw the baby, and were absolutely horrified. They thought the jar contained baby meat. This is a classic example of why local adaptation and research are not optional. You cannot assume what works at home works everywhere. This is why modern global companies prefer gelocalization. Think globally but act locally. Consider Starbucks. They standardize their coffee roasting process globally to maintain quality. But they adapt their menus and store designs locally. In India, they serve cardamom chai and paneer wraps. In Japan, they sell matcha lattes. They respect local culture, local tastes, while keeping their global brand identity intact.
Let's look at how two world-class brands manage this balance. First, let's look at Nike. Nike has built one of the most recognized brands on the planet. Their core product is athletic footwear and apparel. They rely heavily on standardization for their core products and their famous "Just Do It" slogan. However, Nike is a master of strategic international sponsorships and partnerships. In the United States, they sponsor American football and basketball. But when they entered Europe and South America, they put their resources behind soccer. When they came to India, what did they do? They sponsored the Indian national cricket team. Closer to home, you'll see the same instinct in how sportswear brands back Hyderabad FC, the city's Indian Super League football club, to build a foothold in a market where football is steadily growing alongside cricket. Furthermore, Nike adapts its products technically. They design lightweight, breathable shoes for hot and humid tropical climates, and they engineered custom cricket shoes with specific spike configurations to grip Indian pitches. Even their ads are localized. Their commercials in London feature grime music and street football, while in Mumbai they feature cricket played on crowded streets. Nike understands that while their shoes are, the sport that captures the heart of the consumer is local. Now, let's contrast Nike with Domino's Pizza. Pizza is a global food, but taste is deeply personal. If you go to a Domino's in America, the menu is simple: pepperoni, sausage, cheese. But Domino's realized early on that if they wanted to win in international markets, they had to adapt their toppings, crusts, and sauces. If you visit a Domino's in Asia, you will find menu options like seafood and squid toppings in Japan or bulgogi beef in South Korea. In India, they completely restructured their menu to offer a massive variety of vegetarian options, like paneer tikka pizza, peppy paneer, and spicy keema toppings. But here's the thing. Domino's couldn't just use standard delivery methods in traffic-congested Indian cities. They had to design custom hot bags and use small, maneuverable motorcycles to navigate the chaotic, narrow lanes of Hyderabad's Old City, Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore to guarantee their 30-minute delivery. Domino's proved that you cannot sell American taste preferences or delivery systems to the world. You must adapt your product to fit the local palate, while maintaining your fast delivery process.
Before we get into the challenges of going global, let's pause and ask a more basic question. Why bother to do this at all? What exactly are the benefits of global marketing? There are 5 foundational benefits. First, marketing globally allows for the transfer of experience and know-how across countries through improved coordination and integration of marketing activities. Second, when large market segments can be identified, economies of scale in production and marketing can be an important competitive advantage. Third, marketing globally also ensures that marketers have access to the toughest customers, the ones who sharpen a company's competitive edge. Fourth, the diversity of markets served carries with it additional financial benefits. And fifth, firms that market globally are able to take advantage of changing financial circumstances across different economies. Beyond these 5, there are several other critical benefits worth understanding. Market expansion and new revenue opportunities. Entering global markets opens access to billions of new customers, significantly increasing the total addressable market and growth potential. Enhanced brand recognition and global reputation. A global presence elevates brand awareness, prestige, and trust. A strong global brand often commands premium pricing and customer loyalty worldwide. Competitive advantage and defensive strategy. Going global allows companies to preempt competitors in emerging markets, retaliate in competitors' home markets, and achieve a level of global competitiveness that domestic-only players simply cannot match. Access to lower-cost labor, resources, and talent, global operations enable firms to source raw materials, manufacture, or hire skilled talent in countries with cost advantages, improving overall profitability. Risk diversification, also known as the portfolio effect. Operating across multiple economies protects a firm from downturns in any single market. The same way as a diversified investment portfolio spreads risk. And finally, innovation through cross-pollination. Exposure to diverse consumer needs and competitive environments in different countries sparks innovation. Products and ideas developed for one market can often be adapted and launched successfully in others. Together, these benefits explain why, despite all the challenges we're about to explore, companies continue to push beyond their domestic borders.
Taking a brand global is not a walk in the park. There are 8 critical challenges that companies must navigate. Political risks, economic volatility, legal and regulatory compliance, human resource management, understanding pricing strategy, and supply chain complexities. Let's look at the first 4 in detail. The first challenge is political risks. A sudden change in government, trade policies, or international relations can disrupt business overnight. If 2 countries enter a trade war, tariffs can skyrocket, making your imported goods uncompetitive. Governments can place sudden bans on foreign raw materials, forcing companies like automakers to source parts locally or even ban foreign mobile applications. The second challenge is economic volatility. Fluctuating exchange rates, inflation, and varying purchasing power make pricing and profit forecasting a nightmare. A product that is affordable in London might be a luxury item in Hanoi. Here's a clever adaptation. In emerging markets like India or the Philippines, consumer goods giants like Unilever sell shampoo and soap in small, single-use sachets for a few rupees. Consumers prefer small, daily cash outlays rather than buying bulk bottles. That is an economic adaptation. The third challenge is cultural differences. What appeals to a Western consumer might be completely offensive or irrelevant in another country. Consider McDonald's. When they entered India, they had a massive cultural hurdle. Cows are sacred in India, and a large portion of the population is vegetarian. If McDonald's had insisted on selling their standard beef hamburgers, they would have gone bankrupt. Instead, they adapted. They removed beef from the menu, introduced the Mekalu Tikki burger, and created a separate kitchen space for vegetarian food. Here's an impromptu insight. In the West, McDonald's is a cheap, fast convenience food for people on the go. In India, they positioned it as a premium family dining experience, clean, bright, and celebration-friendly. They adapted the entire brand perception. Similarly, beauty brands must adapt their cosmetic color palettes to match local skin tones and regional beauty standards. Bronzers in the West versus dewy, glass skin products in East Asia. The fourth challenge is language barriers. Communication is key to marketing, but direct translations can lead to embarrassing blunders. For instance, when KFC first entered China, their famous slogan, "Finger licking good," was translated into Chinese characters that literally meant "eat your fingers off." Another famous example is the Chevy Nova. When General Motors launched the Nova in Central and South America, sales were terrible. Why? Because in Spanish, Nova literally translates to "it doesn't go." Who wants to buy the car called "it doesn't go"? Marketers must practice transcreation, translating the emotional feeling of a message rather than literal words.
Now let's look at the remaining 4 challenges of global marketing: legal and regulatory compliance, human resource management, understanding pricing rules. In Europe, you have strict data privacy laws like GDPR. In Sweden, advertising toys to children under 12 on a comply, you face heavy fines or banishment. The 6th challenge is human resource management. Managing a diverse global team means be seen as overly aggressive in Thailand. In the US, executive decisions are often top-down, and fast, whereas Japanese corporations use the Ringi system, a slow, bottom-up consensus-building process. Sometimes companies face high expatriate failure rates because they send managers abroad. Pricing strategy. You cannot just convert your home currency prices. You must understand the local competitive landscape and consumer price sensitivity. This often leads to the problem of grey markets or parallel importing. For example, textbook publishers print cheap, softcover student editions for developing countries. You can see this exact phenomenon in Hyderabad's Koti book market, where wholesale traders resell estates on eBay, undermining the publisher's high-margin domestic market. The eighth and final challenge is supply chain complexities. Managing logistics across continents involves dealing with different port infrastructures, customs regulations, tariffs, and transport networks. Establishing a reliable cold chain to transport temperature-sensitive items like ice cream or pharmaceuticals across regions with unstable electrical grids is a massive hurdle. Hyderabad's own pharmaceutical exporters, who ship vaccines and active pharmaceutical ingredients worldwide, live with this exact cold chain challenge every day. Navigating these 8 challenges is tough. But for those who succeed, the reward is a truly global brand.